Welcome to Friday night in the greenhouse with wine. I don't have the wine just yet. I will rectify that very soon. It's a little bit early. Well, it's not a little bit early for wine. It's never too early for wine, let's admit it. But I'm coming out because the sun is so glorious and I've got a couple of hours that I can get a few things done, weeding unfortunately, and we can just have a catch up before we head into the greenhouse. So if you're new around here for a Friday, or if you're new around here at all, first of all, welcome as always. Secondly, Friday night in the greenhouse is when I spend my time taking care of the tomatoes and things that we've got in there, taking off the side shoots, all my tomatoes that I've got this year indeterminate, so taking off all the side shoots. I've been running around, can you tell? I'm out of breath. And basically doing all of the tomato cares in the greenhouse and getting everything ready for a couple of days of working on the plot over the weekend, so that basically tomorrow I can just come out and get started. However, tonight's a little bit different because I want to get a couple of jobs done with you as well as the tomatoes. We will go in there shortly, but first up I'm going to get another one of these bean structures erected so that I can get my climbing squash planted tomorrow. I can't find my blooming string. I used it for another cane structure that I was putting up and I can't find it now. That'll turn up when I'm working in the garden tomorrow, I'm sure, but at least these are in place. This bed is so shallow. When I was putting a couple of these ones in over here and I was putting them in, literally they're not going in very far at all. Thankfully what will be trailing up here are only the really small sort of single serving size squash, so at least I can get those in the ground as well tomorrow. So canes are in place. When I find the string, I'll tie them at the top so that it matches that one, and then I'm going to put 3 squash plants, climbing squash plants around that, and I'm going to put some beans in between as well, climbing beans. So all of that's ready to go. I wanted to get that done now. There's a few other things. Stephen has just started mowing the lawn, cutting the grass, and there's absolutely tons of grass coming from there. He's been doing it quicker than I can get to it with other things that I've been doing, and I want to use that for around the potatoes. So I mulch around these potatoes so that none of the light gets into the tubers as they're growing. Some of them are starting to flower. Let's have a quick look. So these are the first earlies. I can't remember if these might be rocket variety. I'll double check, but we're starting to get flowers. Hello! How fantastic is that? We're actually not eating potatoes at the moment for this very reason. We're waiting for the potatoes to come. So the grass has been arriving in wheelbarrows while he's been shouting me, and I've been collected them when they're ready. I think there'll be another 2, and what I'm going to do is just dump it all in here for now and then use this big bucket. That's quite heavy. It's surprising how heavy the grass is. And I'm going to go over here and just work in between the potatoes. Some of them have already got some on from last week's clippings. I also use the rhubarb leaves, so that just goes down there. All of this will just compost in and be perfect for the beds later on in the autumn. You won't even see the grass clippings or the rhubarb leaves in a couple of months. So that is going to work really well, and another free resource, because trust me, we can do with it what a lot of work there is to do that with. Though can't believe how beautiful it is. It's been typical of this last couple of days. The best time of the day has been on the evening, like early evening like it is now. So before we head into the greenhouse, I've moved my apron. So this is a fantastic apron I got for Christmas off my bestie, and it's brilliant. It's got utility pockets all over the place, but it goes around my neck, and because I haven't got anything on the back of my neck at the moment, it's pulling a little bit because I've got all things in my pockets weighing it down. So I've just took the neck off and I've put it through my top, if you're wondering what that is. If not, just ignore what I've just said. Let's have a little look at the jobs that we're going to prioritise for this weekend. Now, going into the new area that if you've been here before you'll know what I'm talking about. These beds are literally brand new. I'm going to show you what I've managed to get done this week and how things have come along since. So I mentioned the compost already. These beds have got horse manure, our own rotted horse manure in the bottom, and they've been topped off with bagged shop bought compost. This bed I'm going to get leeks all in this bed, which are ready to go in hopefully this weekend as well. We had the dilemma about this bed at the back, which I was planning on it being the sweet corn bed. I will talk more about that either later on in this video or when I actually do it this weekend. Obviously I'll get that on video. This bed is the carrot bed, our main crop carrot bed. This is already sown. I can see a weed from here, typical. I've ordered a Enviromesh fleece to go, not a fleece, Enviromesh mesh cover, what they're called, you know what I mean, to go over this bed because I don't want any carrot fly getting in. Hopefully nothing has germinated yet, so there shouldn't be a problem obviously at the moment. This bed over here has also got the compost in it. You can see if we go closer over to this bed, this has got the straw sticking out. It's actually hay. I've been saying it's straw, it's not, it's hay. And the bottom of this bed is the same as what I've just talked about, the sweet corn bed. It's got the hay on the bottom and compost on the top. I can't remember off the top of my head what's going in this bed, but I'll tell you when I do remember. Now here, just earlier on this week, was it the end of last week or the beginning of this week? In fact, it was the end of last week because it was the bank holiday, wasn't it? So I came out with the Coco de Pampol beans, and at the back I've got Maxador beans. These beans are supposed to be bush beans and they'll only grow, you know, to knee height or something. They won't be climbing beans, all being well. And I've got the Coco de Pampol in the front here, and then in the back I've got the Maxador. So two types of bush beans that should supply us quite well. We do have some other planters dotted around with the spare bush beans in them. They were ready to come out. The roots in the containerised pots were absolutely perfect, so they were just ready to come out. To be honest, could have probably been planted out a week or two ago, but I think they should be okay. They haven't died, so that, you know, that's a positive. Here I then went and got, this is all beetroot in here, so I've got the beetroot sown, I've got some Pablo, Detroit dark red, Burpees golden, Bold Hardy, and the Chogia, couldn't remember what it was called. So the sort of the candy striped one. I've got 2 rows of the candy striped one because I absolutely love that. 1 row of the rest, and if we have a look, you can see these are already starting to germinate, so hopefully all of those seeds are viable, which is fantastic. If they are, I'll be doing another load of beetroot in a different bed that's yet to be identified. These are the leftover beans. I think these are the leftover Maxador beans, so I'll put these just in a container, just one of the planters that we've got that's spare, and I'll get those whipped in there at some point. But of course I'm going to need even more compost to be able to do that. So this bed here has obviously got the A-frame. I've planted this up with 2 lots of growing beans. I've got Borlotti, and I think, you know, and I said this would happen, I think they're the 1500-year-old beans. I must try and remember, because I'm going to write that down, because otherwise some of them are for storing, some of them are for eating fresh. I need to make sure that I know what's where, and some of them I'll just leave on the plant. Now there's also borage plants here, so if you can see those, they're borage plants that have self-seeded from previous years, nasturtium that's self-seeded, and this little beauty here is one of Grace's sunflowers that she has grown herself from seed, so she's so proud of that. So I hope that grows proud and strong. Oregano herb desperately needs harvesting. It's just took over, it's absolutely thriving, which is fantastic, so we'll get that tamed a little bit. And this here is chamomile next to the lavender. The bay tree I can see is now springing back into life, so I shall just chop off the old bits. I think I can do that. That won't kill it off, will it? I know some plants, if you prune them at the wrong time of the year, it dies off, but hopefully I can tidy that up. And then I've got the rosemary here. So in this bed, there's nothing that has to be done this weekend. I have got the string along, so obviously I remembered where the string was. Look at that. Bloody thing. Get off. So as I was saying, I obviously used the string when I was doing this bed, but I can't remember where I've put it since then. Let's go and rehome this little swine. Over here, beyond the grass pile, I also got these Greek gigantes in. Can't remember if I showed you that before or not. They're doing well, except they are also obviously being attacked as well. Now I haven't put anything down to prevent, I haven't put any eggshells down, I haven't put any diatomaceous earth down just yet, because I have found in previous years they've been okay until I've started putting things down. As soon as I've done that, it's almost as if it's invited them and challenged the slugs and the snails. So as long as they're not doing too bad, I just come out and keep picking them off, then I think I'm going to avoid putting anything else down just now. Obviously moving this grass is a priority, and then I'm going to be working in these beds this weekend. I have bought some of the slug collars off eBay just because of how bad the snails and things are this year, and because this bed and this bed here are going to be for our not climbing squash, trailing squash, the winter squash, and it's really important that we have a good crop of those this year, because we're going to be relying on those all through the winter as kind of, you know, one of the main parts of the dishes that we're cooking. So I'm really hoping that they do well. I've also got a load of courgette plants that I want to get in, and the bush squash plants. I'm going to try and put those in containers, but again, same problem, need more compost. The baked potato squash, absolutely loved those last year. They were perfect, really tasty. I think what I'm going to do in this bed here, let me show you my plan for this. This is this weekend as well. So next to the bed that's all prepped, by the way, the climbing squash are obviously going in here. I am putting trailing squash, ground squash on the floor as well. On the floor, you know what I mean. Haven't even had a drink yet, but I think it's about time we had one. So that they can grow around as well as up, trying to maximise the use of this bed, because then by the time they get going, the strawberries will have been and gone, all being well. Haven't touched this bed yet. I did get the leeks out, I think I mentioned that. I can't remember if I told you that or not, but I've got the leeks out and there's a few left there. Some of them have bolted, some of them are good to use, so that's worked out really well. But the only bed that I haven't got to yet is this bed. It'll take no time at all, to be quite honest. These weeds are coming out really easily. There are a few brambles here that are a bit of a swine to get out, so I'll be getting in and chopping those out. You can see this bed is really low. It needs tons of muck. It'll be one of the first beds that I top up as we move into the autumn, but until then, that's why we're growing above ground things in it rather than root crops. So this will have, because I've got the peppers in at the other end, I don't want pumpkins and squash trailing in between the peppers and killing them off. I'm going to put a bed full of baked potato style squash, or basically bush squash plants, in this bed here. I'm hoping that I can fit in, if we try and get my shadow's going to be in the way, but I think we could do 1, 2, 3, 4 at a push. I think I'll be pushing it 4 by 4 in this bed, and then in that bed over there I'm going to do more of the teepees, and the same with squash on the ground as well. What do you even call them? I've just had to look it up on my phone because I was thinking that trailing squash doesn't sound right, but it says it is, so you know what I mean. Basically the squash that are going to be sprawling and trailing all across the ground, that can go in the pathways over there. You know, they've got plenty of space to trail, but I'm also going to be putting these teepees in so that I can be cheeky and grow some of the climbing squash as well. And essentially these, hello Stephen, these 3 beds here are all going to be winter squash. Those 2 big beds over there that I've just shown you are also going to be winter squash, and the bed that I was originally thinking about putting them in is the one that is just overrun with weeds at the moment, so I put the parsnips in. Sorry about that, I have no idea what he's doing. that I put the parsnips in. Unfortunately the parsnips haven't germinated that I can see. Now you'll understand why I'm hesitant to say that in just a minute, because I can't really see because there's so many blooming weeds. And I'm laughing because you guys have been here before when I've done the mad 1 bed a night, get cleaned up in a week. It's starting to get overrun with weeds again in this spot. This bed here, they're not vegetables. Well, there's the odd volunteer potato and things. Sweet peas are at the back, more weeds than anything else. So the parsnips, there's 2 rows of parsnips along here. I don't think any have germinated. I think it was too cold, and I think they've probably rotted before they've germinated, so I'm not sure we're going to get any parsnips, a crop of parsnips this year. This is a priority to do this weekend, and I'm wondering whether to do that first, because this is what I'm most likely to put off, because I really don't want to do it. And I also noticed this week that the first gooseberries are starting to arrive, which is really good news because it's elderflower season here as well. So we're going to be doing elderflower and gooseberry recipes. Some of the raspberries are starting to form. That's looking fantastic. So as well as the rhubarb, which as I say will either be out now or will be coming out very soon, the other things that we're going to be looking at are all of the fruit that's starting to come along. Got a little while yet for obviously the black currants, but you can see they are doing fantastic. I'm going to try blackcurrant wine this year. I've got red currants and white currants as well. First up though, rhubarb. We need to get on top of harvesting that this weekend. Lots of recipes there that I've been looking up and I'm excited to share with you. As I say, there might have already been one of the videos coming out, but there's more of the rhubarb videos to come. But that's kind of the priority that we've got going on this weekend. Definitely need to get started with that bed. I do think I'll do that first when I very first come out in the morning, and yeah, get all of the canes in, finish off the structures. There's a hell of a lot to do, isn't there? I mean, it's good, it's fantastic. That sounded quite negative, it's not. I'm just trying to process what I should do in what order. Okay, we've got a break in the noise. Once I've got the bed done that I was just showing you, I can get some of these planted up as well in there. And there's celery in here as well as brassicas. We have an aphid problem in here though, which I'll take a deeper look into later on this weekend. These are the leeks that I'm hoping to get into the bed that I showed you. But yeah, things are going to be suffering, or already are actually, I can see. So that's another priority. So that bed is the first job in the morning, and we'll get these in and get some other things sown in there too. Now, before I go and grab a glass of wine, I've got a couple of things to do. I need to feed the animals and what have you. At the other end of the veg plot that we didn't go down on the walk that we've just done, the onions and the garlic are in there. The early purple garlic are doing fantastic. The others, not so sure, but there's time yet. There's a little bit of time. Some of the onions though have started to bolt, so I think that I'm going to harvest those, chop them up, get them used fresh, or just whack them in the freezer, and then I can just use them straight from the freezer in the cooking. I've got some broad beans as well. Here we go again. It's worse than the cockerel. Well, we are now with wine. I was laughing because we were chatting on Instagram and saying, oh God, look how dirty that glass is. That's off my fingers. Saying how I have large glasses of wine. I didn't know that they came in any other sizes, to be fair. Excuse me, that's quite small for me. But anyway, cheers, happy Friday. Dogs are joining in. So I've got my snips, and we're going to start off. I wanted to show you the cucumbers, how they're coming along, because what I've done, let me just move you down. Again, this part of it I'm going to try and do as little editing as possible. And excuse the dogs in the background. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cucumbers. I say cucumbers, they are either cucumbers or gherkins. And I think I'm going to show you here. We've got this one here. I'm pretty sure that that's a gherkin. You can't see that because of the wine. I'm going to zoom in and overlay that over the top for you so you can see it. And there's another one that is a kind of more prickly and fat that I'm thinking, is that a cucumber or a gherkin? So the cucumbers that we've got, the cucumbers that we've got are called a Tamara. They're from real seeds. I've definitely got a Tamara outside that's going to hopefully sprawl against the fence just behind me. But of course, I didn't manage the labels properly for these ones, so I'm not sure if they're cucumbers or the gherkins. As soon as that Tamara starts growing, and of course being outside, it's going to be a little bit behind these ones. Oh, why did I do that? Anyway, as soon as that starts growing, I'll have more of an idea. So I'm not sure which is which. Either way, they'll end up getting used for, you know, for the cucumbers are going to be for fresh eating, but I'm also going to be doing some pickles and things with them, so it doesn't really matter either way. I'm going to sit now, and I'm going to get the leaves off these that are sort of green and that are not going to offer anything else to the plant, and then I'm going to work up behind me to the tomatoes that are in the pots that let's have a look at these. So these tomatoes are doing absolutely fantastically. They need some more canes in them because the canes that I put in of course were only supposed to be temporary. Some of them haven't even got canes in, like this one here. That just seems to be standing up all on its own. There are a few side shoots there, we'll get to those. There's one here, for example. That bit there that's sticking up is going to be what I'm removing today, so that the plant focuses on growing nice and tall, setting off the fruits, and eventually when they're about 5 foot, 6 foot tall, well probably more 5 foot actually, I will be taking the tops off so that they then produce nice red fruit. So yeah, the problem is, the reason I was showing you the size of the pots, really they could do with potting on into bigger pots. This one for me is a little bit small. I wanted to get a lot of these outside into the beds outside. They aren't going to be ready. It's the garlic beds. They're not going to be ready for another 3 or 4 weeks. I'm wondering whether to pick some of the garlic early because some of it's really not doing well. But also I want to hold out because it might come on. So yeah, a bit of a dilemma there, but either way, all of the bad leaves, any leaves that are sort of yellowing or not looking too good, any that are too low on the plant are coming off, and any of the side shoots like that I've just shown you, they're coming out. Incidentally, if you want to, you can also plant these. You can just literally put them in compost, water them. That's what I've done with some overwintered ones, and it's worked a treat. So if you've got some seeds that you really wanted to germinate well and only got 1 or 2 of them, take the side shoots off, get those babies in some compost, and then you'll have lots more of the seeds that you wanted, and you don't need to be upset anymore. So next to these cucumbers, I've actually got some tomatoes that were just tucked behind something else, and I'd totally forgotten about. So they are doing really well considering that they've been completely neglected. So I'm going to get the weeds out. First weed out. And any leaves that are too low down or that are yellowing, such as this one here, is providing absolutely nothing to the plant now, so I'm getting those whipped off, or anything that's kind of in the way that's going to cause the plant a problem. There shouldn't be too many at this early stage. I'm going to take this one off, you know, I'm pretty sure that that's a fat gherkin now. I'm pretty sure that that is. I hope it is anyway, because I've just whipped it off. Oh my goodness, that's really painful on the old ones. A couple of leaves here to come off this one. And that's all it needs doing for the cucumbers today. Right, tomatoes. So I think what I might do is actually get some of them on the floor, because it's difficult to kind of navigate around them. This one, I don't even know what it is. I just felt sorry for it and popped it in a pot. This is my problem. I shouldn't be feeling sorry for them and should just get rid of them when they're too far gone. So this one definitely needs a cane putting in. So you can see it's kind of, it's growing with a bit of a wonk. It needs a water. And I put this down here. There's no side shoots on that one. Now this week it's been a really interesting week, as I say, with it being a bank holiday. We've kind of lost all track of time. Stephen has been spending a lot of time maintaining the ground out there. The sheep are on, so he went round, finally got our sort of little ride on. We don't have any machinery here like tractors or anything like that, and he finally got our little ride on, which is the only machinery we've got, fixed so that he could go around and whip all of the nettles down, and then once the nettles are down, the sheep can eat them. Obviously really nutritious for them. Oh my goodness me, look at the length of this. Oh wow, that's absolutely huge. Right, need to get something done with this. So he and Grace had some fun running around the garden. She was on the lawnmower. He was flinging around all over the place, enjoying, living the best lives. See, that's a side shoot. Look at that bad boy. Gee whiz, that is absolutely huge. That shouldn't have happened, but that's because I didn't get in here last Friday. Do you remember? This is getting a little bit thin and spindly, so I'm going to need to do something with this one tomorrow too. Having said that though, even though it's been a bit of a strange week, it's been nice to be able to get out, get those carrots sown in that bed that you saw. Now that they're in, I was actually wanting to put in Autumn King, but I couldn't find the seeds. Typical. I found them since, of course, so I might do a few more Autumn King in a separate bed, because at the end of the day, certainly in our family, you can never have too many carrots. Now I'm taking this one off because even though it's not in the way, it's not looking particularly healthy. I've had to put you facing that way because I couldn't look at the camera that way because it was just far too bright for me. It's still 26 degrees in here, so that's why I'm now without the fleece again. On, off, you'd think it was flipping February, not May. Oh, it's June tomorrow. Stephen's actually off this weekend, which I didn't know whether he didn't know whether he was going to be or not until today. So he's here. He's mostly healed from his back problems, and he is going to be helping me. So we're talking about this on the small holding video, which covers not just gardening stuff. I mean, everything covers everything sometimes, doesn't it? But you guys know that by now. On the bed that I said I'm going to prioritise in the morning, next to that we have got some hedges which we have never liked, and I just don't get, there's nothing nests in them. I just don't get the use, you know, box hedging for me. I know it's got its uses in other areas, but not here in our little veg plot. So we have got a project on this weekend which we're going to show you on the small holding video. So I'm going to be starting off weeding in the morning in there, and Stephen's going to be starting off with his project in there now that his back is hopefully well enough to be able to do that. I mean, we'll see what tomorrow brings, but hopefully that's the case, and it's going to be a big difference, a really big difference. once he's got his bit done. So we shall see what tomorrow brings, but it is going to be, I better not have too much of this wine. Actually, I need to talk to you about that. Well, sorry, that's close. I'm running out of wine. So essentially, I'm not buying wine this year. So I had wine gifted for Christmas and for my birthday, which is in December, and I had kind of a stash of wine which is diminishing very quickly, and I said, right, I'm not going to be buying wine this year. I am just going to be making it or drinking if we gifted it. You know, we gifted wine for different things, different reasons. My mum often gives me a bottle of wine just because she loves me, and that is so appreciated. But aside from that, we're not buying wine. We've got home brew on the go, and we're starting some rhubarb wine. Don't want to do any spoilers, and I'm not too sure, like I said earlier, about the videos and what order they've come out, because, you know, life's hectic sometimes. So I'm going to be doing rhubarb wine, and essentially I need to be getting on with making my country wines if I want to have any more wine this year, because we are running out fast. And obviously a lot of the wines, especially the red ones, which I drink more often, they take like years to mature, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But some of them you can do really quickly. And I was looking at blackcurrant wine, gooseberry wine. Oh, there's some absolutely amazing ones. So I've got some excited. Wow, another one. It's a big one. Yeah, I'm excited about some of those recipes that I'm going to be trying, and we shall see how they work out on a Friday night. The rhubarb one, if I remember previously, you can drink that quite quickly. I've made that before and it was quite nice. It wasn't horrible. It's probably a better way of putting it. So we'll see how that works out. But yes, I was saying I shouldn't have too much tonight to give myself any headaches for tomorrow, because we've got some big jobs on tomorrow in terms of there's a lot to get done, and I can't wait to show it with and I can't wait to share it with you. It's so fantastic looking back and seeing everything that we've got achieved. Right, that one is a troublesome one. It's got a complete bend in it, so I'm going to have to encourage that. Put that on the floor for attention. I nearly sliced my lip off doing that. And that one's still, no, oh no, that's the flower. So I know most people will know, but this here, can you see, tangled in my hands, they're the flowers which become the tomatoes. This isn't the side shoot here. The side shoot comes between the leaf stem and the main stalk of the tomato. I mean, I don't know what I'm even telling you for. It's like I know what I'm doing, and I don't really. I just go along with it every year, and what we get is what we get, and we eat what we get. And we're very grateful for it. Right, that's all of those done. Let's have a look at this jungle. This is being temperamental, that's not very helpful. The onions that are in here, sorry if I have no idea if I'm in shot or not because I can't see because the sun's so bright. The onions that are in here, you might remember, and if you don't, they are what should have been eaten last year but didn't get planted. So they're doing really well. I didn't think they would work, but they are doing really well. See, now I'm not convinced that that's the main stem. This is what happens, they just take over. They just take over so quickly. I'll take you off as well. Now is that the main stem or is that the main stem? I'm gonna go with that because, okay, be brave, be brave. That's got flowers on it on the other one. Oh my god, I hope that's the main stem. It'll be fine. Woo. I tell you what, it is really warm in here. Quite uncomfortable actually. I think that's the side shoot. I hope that's the side shoot. I'm trying to be brave this year because they just get unruly and take over and run my life, and I'm trying to maintain a little bit of I'm trying to maintain a little bit of of say what happens in the garden. It's the only place I've got any say, I'm sure. Right, I know some people won't like this because it's plastic, but it works really well, and I've got it. It was a gift of Stephen, who saw it and thought that's going to make my life easier, and he is absolutely right. Where did that go? Oh my goodness, I'm actually sweating, so I'm going to say, hang on, let me turn you around so I can actually see. Goodness me, that's better. The temperature's going up. It's the end of the day. What's that all about? It's 27 degrees now. No wonder I'm sweating. I want to continue doing these and get these nice and tidy for tomorrow. The tomatillos are in here as well, but I'm not going to be doing anything with them. Some of them need watering. Some seem to be retaining the water better than others. I'm not sure why, but we shall see. They're going to continue in those pots. All of these squash around here, which you can't see slightly off camera, that's what's going in tomorrow, all being well. But I'm going to meet you back here on the small holding video, and we are going to get on with that bed that I would otherwise avoid. It helps that Stephen's working in there as well, so we can work together, because otherwise, as I say, I might find something else more interesting to do. And I'll get that done first, and we can go from there. But this is where we're up to at the moment. Those are the priorities for the week, and you've kind of seen where we've got up to in this bank holiday week. So thank you for joining me. Cheers to that, and I will see you very soon on the small holding video. Bye for now.